Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday, May 10th, 2016 Abington School Building Committee meeting. First item on the agenda is the approval of the April 12th, 2016 School Building Committee meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Minutes of April 12th, 2016 are approved as presented. Next item on the agenda is a lead design review report. And as a reminder for the viewers at home, LEED is the environmental rating for the building. We are striving to receive at minimum LEED Silver, which awards the project additional reimbursement points through the MSBA and makes the building energy efficient. So I'll turn it over to Mary for a LEED update.
So as part of the LEED certification for the project, we have two major components that we have to submit and get certification on. The first component is the design. So following the bid of the project, AI3 submitted to LEED our design information and the various forms that are required for the credits that we're trying to achieve for the project. That review has been ongoing for the last couple of months, and recently we received notification that we are now LEED certified for the design portion of the project. To achieve that certification, we did need to make some adjustments in the program, and one of them we're going to review in the change order log a little bit later. But overall, we have met all the criterion, and so at this point we're now in the construction phase. We have started the construction documentation process with Brate and AI3 over the last couple of months, which includes photography, product data reviews, and then we will eventually be getting into a monthly or quarterly recycling tracking process, so that we can ensure that both during construction and also during the demolition of the high school that we are recycling the required quantity of content with regard to both of those operations. So at the end of construction, we will then go through the construction certification process, where we submit all of our documentation, and then LEED reviews it, asks for any follow-up, and then we expect that we would be LEED certified silver, which then results in our 2 additional credits from MSBA for our sustainable design and construction.
Do you want to provide the first project?
We'll do that.
Okay. Different. Every time we have a meeting, I do a little different presentation for you. So, let's see. Oops. Okay, that's good. It opened. So we're lucky that, and I'll thank Justin Shanahan from Abington Cable came out and has taken a series of videos using the drone technology. Like, there's probably a couple of hours worth of video, but you can relax. I'm only showing 4 hours and 4 minutes and 5 seconds. All right, and it's just to kind of give you an idea of what the project's looking like, and I'll probably just kind of like point some things out as we go. So, with that being said, hopefully this is going to work for us. And okay, so this is the way the school looks, not necessarily today, but this was just a little more than a week ago, actually April 27th. This video was shot, and you'll see all of the roofing area is done here, and they have some prep there now. So right now the roof area is here. We're almost down to this point, and this is down to there. I had to make this quick because I know after 2 minutes everybody's bored. This is steel decking that you're gonna see on the high school. We have some structures here. That's to hide some of the mechanical equipment, not hide, well hide, but also control some of the sound from the mechanical equipment. You see we still have a crane here on site at this point. Down at this point here, they're installing some of the extensive drainage system. They've almost gone as far as they can with that at this point. It's, all of a sudden now 4 minutes seems too long. But you'll see that all the decking is here. This is the high school side. The preschool is down here. And then we have science classrooms over here. Give you an idea of what the field is looking like. And that was a little bit ago. They said to add music, by the way. Justin said you gotta add music, so. But you can see that even though there is a little more work to go in the field, you can see that the grade has been brought up around the perimeter here quite nicely. And I think Mary might be addressing some of the issues with the field in a few minutes, so. Just to give you an idea. Lighting, you can see, is in. We still have one more post to go. This is the entrance that comes off of the field, so this is going to be the entrance in between the gymnasium and the auditorium. I only threw this in because we have a short pieces. This is the auditorium seating here, the stage here. And it's funny, if you were to go in there today, and I know a few people have been in there today, it looks entirely different. In just a short period of time, it's really moved along. All the framing on the back wall. So Justin is the cable person, so he wanted to get a picture of what the future TV studio and the school's going to look like. This is actually the control room here, and it would look off into this area. But it does show you how much metal studding and window frames and door frames have already been installed in the building. So it gives you an idea of how they're progressing. And it is amazing how much more is done in just a week's time. That's the big soil pile, the topsoil. Almost half of this pile, I'm telling you here, almost half of that pile has now been removed. They continue to truck it each and every day. This is the middle school. If you look at it today, you wouldn't even recognize it. All of the decking on the second floor and the first floor is all installed. You are actually seeing here, or in a second, there are the last 3 pieces of structural steel to get bolted onto the building. Is right here at this point. All of this, you can see the decking is just stacked up there. All of that is installed at this point. You'll see here that we have a lot of the board on the studs here, and that now today has got the AVB, the air and water vapor barrier. So this is almost over. You can tell we're almost done here. All right, so this was kind of a comparison. This is the way the field looked a week ago. That's the way it looked a month ago. So you can see that there clearly is progress being made on the field.
Great choice of music, Roger.
Okay. I think it'll probably shut down if I just hit stop, maybe. All right. I hope you enjoyed that. So, now on for the construction update. Synthetic field continues to progress, or it's been slow because of the rainy conditions, but proof rolling is scheduled to resume soon. The water service to the synthetic field, there's a water cannon type of devices going out there, that has been installed. The water service to the future storage shed has been installed. The area outside of that large block retaining wall has all been graded off nicely, topsoil, and there is some minor seed in there at this point. We're currently installing the under slab drainage system in the music room and the cafeteria kitchen area. And then we're going to progress right into the administrative area, which is the front of the building, which we call Zone 1. Drainage structures are at the front are still ongoing, but almost complete. Topsoil, as you could see, it is being trucked off site. Concrete slabs, this is a very big week for concrete slabs. Tomorrow we're going to pour 330 yards, and that's a slab on grade. So that'll take us from where we left off, and it'll take us down through the kitchen area and stops just shy of what the middle school cafeteria is. And then next Friday, this coming Friday, we hope to pour the slab on the second floor of the middle school wing, if you will. And if that happens, then 100% of the second floor slab on deck will be complete. The elevated stadium seating that you saw in the auditorium and the lecture hall, those pads should be done Thursday. So that's all good news. In terms of masonry, we've had a very large masonry workforce out there. Both elevator shafts, 1 and 2, I have nearly complete. They are completed in terms of masonry. The walls in the middle school locker room, masonry walls in the middle school locker room are about 90% complete. The walls in the high school locker room, masonry, 50% complete. One of the stairways, stairway 3, is 100% complete. Stairway 9 is 50% complete. And tomorrow, they're actually going to start to install some of the exterior masonry products, and that will start on the middle school side, well, the northwest corner of the gymnasium, and then work towards the front of the building. Let's see, the mock-up wall in terms of masonry is done. So the masonry components are done on the mock-up. We still have other work to do there. Steel erection, you saw in the video, the last piece of steel was placed up. We still do have detailing to do, and by that we mean bolting, welding, decks, Nelson studs. But I believe that most of that will be done by the end of the week. We still continue to use the services of our inspectional services to make sure that we maintain quality. AVB, which is the air and vapor barrier that you may have seen there, they're making great progress with that. The upper walls at the gym and the auditorium are complete. The clear story that is around the library is ongoing at this point, and many of the lower walls around the locker rooms have been installed as well. Fireproofing is ongoing. All of the middle school and high school locker rooms and gymnasium are completed and tested, or partially tested for thickness. The corridor that separates the two areas between the auditorium and the gymnasium is currently ongoing. That contractor plans on doubling his workforce as soon as the roofing is completed in the auditorium area. And so essentially this week we expect that he will do that. Exterior wall framing is nearly 100% complete on the gym and the locker room locations. You saw in the video that many of the interior walls in the locker rooms are completed. The clear story is completed in the library. Our roof edging continues along. They're about 75% complete on that. And then they're putting on that yellow board, the dense glass board, immediately after the framing goes up. Roofing, gym, and auditorium are complete. The mechanical room, receiving room are near completion. The corridor above, the roof above the corridor in the auditorium, which would be the east side, is just about complete. And that contractor is also going to double their workforce within the next few days. Plumbing, water supply lines are going into the locker rooms. They are roughing in the bathrooms in the locker rooms. The underground sanitary in the kitchen is complete. That's good because we're going to be pouring concrete there tomorrow. And that was a very big job on the part of the plumbing contractor. And all the under slab drainage work in zone 2 and 1 and that's basically from the auditorium over to the middle school cafeteria, is nearly complete. Mechanical contractors have been on site. Hot and chilled water supply lines are ongoing in the gym and in the auditorium. Mechanical rooftop mounting brackets are installed in the gym, the auditorium, and the library areas. Hangers are being installed. Ductwork is going up. Ductwork in the gym is going on, started today actually. Electrical contractor continues to work hard. A lot of underground work is going to be coming to a completion soon because we're going to be pouring concrete slabs. The scoreboards, as you can see, are installed. The electricians are working hand in hand with the other contractors, the masonry contractors, because as they build their walls, they install their electrical boxes and conduit inside there. So the workforce on site has grown considerably. We're averaging approximately 105 people a day at this point, and we would expect that it will continue to grow, particularly on days when we have concrete slabs that are placed. Everybody still awake? Any questions?
Yeah, Roger.
Yes.
I happened to be at Hanover High School
Yeah.
this past weekend. My grandson plays rugby for Marshfield. That's my first look at any
Synthetic
fields,
fields. Yeah.
synthetic like that. Is that what our field is going to look like?
It's going to be better.
Even better?
Well, I don't know. I've never seen Hanover, but
I mean, I'll write that down.
I would think it would be a fair comparison to make. I mean, that was put in probably 5 years ago, I would guess, maybe even a little longer. I mean, the technology, you know, from other presentations has obviously progressed. So I would hope that we're going to
Will they
get
have a track around
a
it?
superior product. No track around this field.
No track.
No. Yes, Mike.
The continuous rains we've had the
Yes.
last almost 2 weeks, do you see that affecting the schedule at all?
Yeah, Mary's going to talk about
Oh,
the
okay.
I'll
schedule.
transition over.
She's the schedule
Yeah.
Okay.
guru. Okay, thank you very much.
So David, with respect to the field, just keep in mind, we did that turf upgrade, so it's gonna, from a distance, look the same, but the system is different than what was installed at Hanover.
At Hanover.
Yes, and the lining may be different just because we've tried to utilize these fields as multi-purpose fields so that we can put soccer on there or we can put lacrosse on there with some line painting. So there may be a little bit more flexibility with the fields that we're putting in than they are at Hanover.
Thank you.
With regard to the synthetic field schedule, so we've all know about the weather for the last month or so. I heard some people saying it was so nice to actually have the sun out today and appreciating the warmth. But as far as site work, it has impacted us extremely. During the month of April, I would say that we probably had 1 week of 4 days during April vacation week where we really were able to get a lot of work accomplished. But since then, because we've not only had rain last week for the entire week, we have also had weather systems that come every 2 days or so, which it takes the site a day or two to dry out after we have a major rain event. So at this point, we are getting to a critical point with regard to the schedule for the synthetic field. We plan to have a meeting with the contractor and with Darren and with the site contractor on Thursday to talk about where they're at with regard to schedule. If we benefit from weather we're having this week, continues through the month of May, then we will be able to meet our schedule. If we have continued weather like we had in April, then we're not going to be able to meet the July 15th deadline for the synthetic field turnover. But with that being said, we've already started discussions with Pete Serino, the athletic director, just to let him know so he can do some planning in case we do run behind on schedule. We'll have a better feel for it in about 2 weeks. We really need to get some extended dry weather for us to be able to meet that schedule at this point. The products have all been ordered. They're all going to be available. That's not an issue for us. It's really just being able to properly complete the proof rolling of the field and install the fill material and properly compact it. Whether the field is wet itself or whether our stockpile of material is wet, we can't work it if either is the case. So we'll do our best to work around it, and hopefully we'll get some dry weather over the next couple of weeks. A couple of additional items I wanted to add to Roger's update. I'm not sure if people have noticed, but there is a large structure near the student parking lot at the gymnasium of the high school. That is our markup panel, and at this point, a lot of the masonry components that we're going to be utilizing on the exterior of the building have been installed. So if you are driving by, you can take a look at that panel through either the gate or over the fence because it's quite tall, and that'll give you a real good idea of what some of the masonry components post the precast for detail work and also the brick assemblies are going to look like. I think it's a very sharp assembly of materials. You'll see open components there, such as the windows. Those will eventually be installed prior to our starting the window work. And some of the roofing detail still needs to be finished up to be able to complete the markup panel.
Do we pick the mortar color yet?
Yes, it was picked on Thursday last week. So if you look at the panel, on the right-hand side facing the panel, if you're looking at the panel, your right-hand side of the panel is going to be the mortar color we're using. Okay. Good question. We'll also be following up with caulking colors also on that panel. So from time to time you may see caulking on it and you may see a bunch of different colors. It's just because we're trying to pick the right color to mix the match with the mortar and the other assemblies. Steel schedule, as Roger had said, we're probably about a week, maybe 10 days away from finishing it. That is right on track with Wright's original schedule. They had said from the beginning they were going to finish between May 15th and May 20th, so we're right on track for that date. Amazingly so, and somewhat to the chagrin of our town treasurer, because last month we spent $6.7 million on the project, which was a little bit out of my forecast, but we do benefit because our schedule is really doing quite well. Slabs, as Roger mentioned, we are doing a smaller placement tomorrow as compared to some of the other placements that we've done more recently. It is an area that should be placed and finished within a reasonable period of time. It will be done probably before 7 o'clock at night, so we don't have any noise ordinance issues. And we're working with the other areas. We still have the first floor of the high school academic wing, the first floor of the middle school academic wing, and the second floor of the middle school academic wing, and that'll finish up our slab placement, so we're doing really well. We're also dealing with an item at the town hall parking lot has been used by some contractors for parking just because of our limited site availability. In response to a request from Marshall Adams, the building commissioner, the contractor has painted out some specific lines and provided some signage so that the contractors know exactly where they're supposed to be parking, not to impact visitors or people who are utilizing either the library or town hall. So we're instituting those control measures to try to help and be a good neighbor. It would be our expectations that once we get into the next phase of construction, which is phase 1B, starting this summer, that we will have more site area available and paved so contractors can start coming back on site and parking. We're in extreme crunch right now because we're trying to prep the drainage systems and the roadway areas to be able to pave them this summer. So that means really we are very, very tight for any kind of lay down area on site for any contractors to park or have the storage trailers. So the town's been very, very helpful and generous in helping us with this contractor parking, and so far the contractors in turn have been courteous and respectful and have kept the parking lot clean, so I think it's been a very good relationship between both parties. Finally, just a reminder that we have multiple phases on this project. We are currently in what we're calling phase 1A, which is the first mobilization, the start of construction of the building. We will be transitioning at the close of the school year to phase 1B, and that means that during phase 1B, the gymnasium parking lot of the high school will not be available to the public anymore. The fence line will be moved to Glenowitz Way, roundabout perimeter, and that entire section of the parking lot will be taken away until mid-August because we need to get the utilities into the site. So through that parking lot, we're going to be running our main electric service off of the service from the roundabout. We will also be running a new gas service from that location. The only other service that we'll be bringing in, hopefully in the next few months, is our telephone services, which requires overhead poles along the east boundary. But unfortunately, due to the Verizon strike, we are somewhat dead in the water with regard to getting any movement on that service. We had met with their contractors in the field. We had designated the pole locations, and the following week they went on strike. So we're a little bit stuck in the water until that strike ends and we're able to get their engineering department to review our project. It is not critical at this time, but it is an important item because that service runs underneath the parking lots that are adjacent to the synthetic turf field, which we would like to turn over to the owner this fall. So I think that provides you a full update on where we're at and where we're going to be through the summer. We are planning on meeting with the school administration and the athletic department in the next 2 weeks, I think, 23rd or the 21st, to review this phasing change and make sure that we're on track with regard to coordination of summer school and where they'll park, where faculty will park, and then also keeping into account any of the summer camp programs that are run out of the gymnasium or any other part of the high school building. So
Mary, just one other group you might want to get in touch with is the Summer Concert Committee.
we have a tentative meeting scheduled with them at the beginning of June. We had already met with them last fall. So they have forwarded to me their schedule. I know that their first concert date, I think, is the 27th? 26th of June. Fat City Band, very good. Lucky to get them. And we are now working on site to try to provide them with an alternate route for emergency vehicles on Riley Field, but we're continuing to maintain the Riley Field access through the site at this point. There's been a track event, I think, a week ago where the fire department needed to get an ambulance up there, so we've been working through that, and we'll continue to work through it so the summer concert series is all set. And we did promise to meet with them in the beginning of June so we could go through all the logistics with them.
Thanks.
Is it okay if I move on to budget?
Absolutely.
So budget, the first item on the agenda of the budget is our first change order. I have included in the report a copy of the change order, which I would present for the committee's consideration and approval. It includes 5 items. The first being the synthetic turf field product upgrade, which was previously authorized by the committee, I think back in January or February. Item number 2 is a small electrical modification to coordinate the electrical service in the room for the vacuum pump and air compressor. These are 2 pumps and air compressor are required for the science labs. We bring compressed air and vacuum to the science labs in the high school. So that's really just a phasing and amperage adjustment. Next one is the item I briefly mentioned earlier with regard to the lead design. When we had the lead design review, one of the items that was identified was the need for additional acoustic panels in the 4 project learning labs in the middle school in order to meet the acoustical requirements in the lead certification. So that is the 28,901 number. That did come in at a higher number, and AI3 and KBA worked with Great to try to bring that number down, realizing the importance of meeting the LEED certification. Item 4 is additional steel that is required for support of the 2 curtain walls at the north end of the gymnasium. These are large window sections. They're really an additional top steel requirement to support those windows and the loads on those windows, wind loads, etc. And number 5 is to adapt some cross bracing on the first floor near the auditorium in order to coordinate with the toilet rooms. We basically took a typical brace frame and we had to adjust it to a chevron brace. So this is just the cost for the changes to that steel component. It still does represent added value based on the fact that we were able to utilize construction that was in place to create the chevron brace. So that it concludes all the items 1 through 5, and the change order number 1 is for an amount of $69,849.50. Currently, the change order contingency for the project is $2,762,556. So this is certainly within the budget. It does represent all that added value to the project. And so KBA would recommend, as AI3 does, approval of this change order.
Motion to approve change order number 1.
Second.
All those, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the change order in the amount of $69,849.50 is approved as presented.
Mary, can I just ask you on the change order, the gym curtain wall windows, are those just the regular, the high windows
Yes.
on the north end?
Yes, yeah, they're on, like each side of the exit doors from the gymnasium, so they're just large window components up there. They're different than the components that are on the west side. I think those are storefronts, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, these are big ones, 16 feet wide.
These are huge.
Oh, so they're looking out the back of the building?
Yes.
They look out into the stream in the back,
Yeah.
yeah, yes.
And then just to follow up on a comment you made earlier about the town treasurer, how she was, I don't know what the word you used, but you said we spent about $6 million.
$6.7 million.
Just to clarify, we're not over budget, it's just
We're
that
not,
we're,
yeah.
Braid is working so fast and so hard, we're paying bills faster than we anticipated.
Yeah, we are, and one of the things that we will follow up with her is that we, in addition to having this type of progress and these payments being made, are getting reimbursed from the MSBA on a monthly basis. In fact, the town just received its latest invoice reimbursement 3 days ago or so. So from month to month, we're completely up to date with them. They just, the school department just submitted the latest about 2 weeks ago, so we would expect to see a payment in about 2 more weeks from them. So that process has also gone really quite well, so that even though we are spending a lot of money out, the state is giving us our reimbursement on a monthly basis, so it's kind of offsetting some of those costs, so it shouldn't be an issue for them with regard to the bonding on the project. And we are completely on budget, in fact, under budget at this point.
And on the schedule still?
Yes, we're still on schedule. The building itself, I've done multiple presentations at the high school with physics classes and geometry classes and faculty.
Really?
We've met with staff over at the Woods End, and we've met with the kids over at the Woods End of Beaver Brook. And that is the question everyone keeps asking, how are we doing on schedule? And based on our initial schedule and where Braid is now, we're probably still 4 to 6 weeks ahead of schedule, except for the fields and some of the site work because of the rain. But the building itself is going up extremely fast.
Can I just publicly thank Mary and Roger for helping us create a teachable moment with the construction project in our backyard with the students in the different science classes, physics, ecology. They've really been wonderful with our kids, so thank you.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's like the kids are actually really engaged and interested in it, so it's
They
kind
really
of,
are.
yeah,
It's fun to
it's
hear.
kind of fun to hear. And I think it's fun for the teachers too, because they actually have a moment where the kids think that the subject matter they've been teaching and they seem so bored with, they're very interested in. The questions from the kids were actually really, really good too. Kept me on my toes the entire time. So with regard to the change order update, the report that I typically give you with the agenda will include a new component here. This is change order number 1. When we execute a change order, what I'll do is I will shade out the PCOs so we know that that's a closed item. And those change orders are tracked in the above section in item A, which is change orders approved. So you can see our first change order is up there at $69,000. So additionally, we've had a few added change orders. They're all pretty small in nature. And the reason for these changes that we've talked in the last 2 meetings about the fact we've been doing FF&E programming and review of the program. And when we're doing those program reviews, we talk about the furniture for each building location or room location. And we also walk back through the architectural drawings with them to make sure the desks are where they want them to be, the desks are in an arrangement that they want them to be, that we're creating that really collaborative learning environment that we were trying to achieve during design. I think the teachers, to their credit, and faculty members have done a lot of work on their own in the last year to see about decisions or suggestions they made a year ago when we were in design, that now they're talking to some of the local schools that have gone through this process, and they're learning a little bit about maybe what they thought would work good. They're getting some additional information in and deciding to make some minor adjustments. And as long as they're minor in nature, we've kind of been including them in the project. And as you can see, the open PCOs that we have to date are, they're ads, there's some credits back and forth. I think in the overall scheme of things, we'll end up with a zero budget when we finish all this process. And we're very close to doing that. We have a meeting on Wednesday with the principals at the Woods End and also with high school to talk about the final program, so that these changes are pretty close to being at the finish line. An item that is not on this log but will be next month is a typical an item that we've tried to include, and that's at the pre-K classrooms. We designed those classrooms, we met with faculty, and then as we went through the FF&E programming, I suddenly realized that we installed all the whiteboards at adult height. And so our thought process was, we're putting young children that we want them to work on the whiteboards and be able to work on the surfaces with the teachers. Well, adult height whiteboards are not going to work for them. So that's not, you're going to see next month we added in, we're changing the interactive whiteboards in those rooms to be more conducive to smaller children to be able to work in there. But we're also going to include the infrastructure per contract, so that for any reason those spaces need to change to some other educational purpose, they can be easily adjusted to adult height purposes or for more mature students. So it's an example of what we try to do during this entire process, even during construction, to keep trying to get it right for the owner. Last item is earthwork allowances. Thankfully, we had no new discoveries this month. So the report you have this month is pretty much the same as what you saw last month. We're still a little bit over on the earthwork allowances. We are tracking them, and we still, however, have the possible chance that as we move along, particularly in the next phase, 1B, that we may encounter more issues and materials, because now that's when we're going to need to install our duct banks, and we need to get through an area that we found ledge in the middle school. The utilities are going to come off of Glenowitz Way, and they're going to pass along the west side of the middle school wing, and we did encounter ledge during the foundation work there, so we may encounter it again for these utilities. And then as a reminder, we did have the belief that our unsuitable vein in the middle school may continue into the tennis court, so we could possibly meet it there. But at this point, we're still in very good shape, given the change of contingency. I mean, we're well under budget and utilization, and at this point, the project is, I think, 25% complete based on paid to date. So an amazing, amazing number based on 6 months of construction during winter months. So all good news.
Great winter. I had 3 different people compliment, and this should go to Pete Serino, our athletic director, our choice in the outdoor scoreboards. And all of them somehow already knew that East Bridgewater had a major issue and a problem with theirs, and how we learned from their mistake, and how East Bridgewater already replaced their scoreboards. So people already noticed that our choice was, a well-educated decision. Kudos.
Very good. All right. Next item on the agenda is just a quick update. The weekend of June 10th through the 12th, the town is conducting some Founders Day activities. I was asked by Ken Coyle if we could provide tours of the site during that weekend. While I think conceptually it's a very good idea, unfortunately due to OSHA as well as insurance liability, we can't provide on-site tours of the building. What I did counter back to Kenny that I think he feels would be a very good compromise, if you will, is on Sunday, June 12th, we're going to have the construction fencing taken down on the screening over in the high school parking lot area, so that people will be able to get a very clear view of the project and how far it's come along thus far. I'll be on site. I'm waiting to finalize times, likely sometime between 2 and 6 p.m., which is when I think Kenny expects there'll be the highest volume of people up there. We're also going to get some of the mock-ups and sketches, have them on site as well, so people can see the mock-ups of what the building will look like, what it presently looks like. They'll also be able to see the mock-up panel from there as well, because the panel is in that same vicinity. So while we can't get them on site, we think that'll give them as close to a hands-on approach as we can without having any potential liability concerns. So I'll be there. I welcome any members of the committee that would like to be present to help answer questions from the community, that when they're up there viewing it, you're more than welcome to come up and help to answer questions. I'm hopeful that there'll be a lot of traffic, and we'll continue to build some excitement and momentum around the project.
Can I ask a question? At that time in June, isn't it true that the fence will be up at the front side of the gym parking lot?
No.
It'll still be back?
Yeah, the change is going to be once the kids are out of school. We
Okay.
wouldn't make that adjustment until the kids are gone. We couldn't handle the parking situation.
All right, so people will still be up pretty good.
Yeah, and it's the east parking lot that we are looking to utilize, because the west, or the gymnasium lot, we have a lot of storage containers along that fence. I don't think they'd be able to see very much. So we are looking to do it on the east boundary, the first driveway into the high
Okay,
school.
so the high school cafeteria.
Right, so you look out on the synthetic field, you'll get a really nice east to north view of the school, and you'll be able to see
I
the
agree.
gym entry and the high school wing, so I think it's a good location for it.
So that's where the tops will be down,
Screening.
the screening will be down, but the mock-ups will still be on the gym.
Other side.
Yeah, the mock-up
Yeah.
panel. Do we have any general business? All right.
So, two other items for you. The first being, we have a majority of our interior finish material, the products have been submitted and approved by the architect. So typically, on an AI3 project, what happens is AI3 waits until the contractor submits all the interior products. So they have the color palette for all the different materials. Then they will put together rendering boards utilizing swatches of paint colors and fabric colors, wood colors, glass, metals, things like that. And then AI3 will present it to either the building committee or a subgroup of the building committee, or a working session, or it's usually helpful to have faculty members included too, because it really is going to be the spaces they work in. We've had really good input when we've done these type of meetings, and for the auditorium, when you have the theater people come in or the music people come in, it's really good to get their opinions on what work and what don't work for those spaces. So I would ask the committee if they want to just work up a working group, and we'll add some representatives from the high school and the other schools to be able to have input on those boards. Is that acceptable to everyone? I know I spoke to Jeanette O'Leary, and she said she would definitely like to be part of that group. So I'll just send out a notice setting up Friday. Is Friday still a good morning meeting day for people? Yeah, okay, so we'll try to set up a working session, and for those who want to attend, you're more than welcome. And, hopefully this will allow us to have everybody included and have a global decision on the finishes in the building.
Can still be at the North School?
Yes.
Yeah, we're looking to probably do that sort of presentation to the subcommittee either the week of, I think it's May 30th,
Okay.
or that following week, that first week in June, I think it's the week of June 6th.
For school administrators, is it easier to have it like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Matt or Peter?
The AM works for me, I don't know, Matt.
Depending on the number of faculty members that would be required to come, coverage could be worked out for a morning meeting.
Okay,
I think on a Friday afternoon, having people come would be a bit of an ask.
Okay.
in June.
good, well, that works. We like early, so. works
Any
good for
time,
us.
what time in the morning, like 7:30 or 8:30 or?
Yeah, if it's okay with people, 7:30,
I like the
7?
7:30.
Yeah. that's
Yeah,
fine.
because I mean, the school starts so early, I'd like to try to, especially for Matt's people, get them there before they start their day. Terry might be a little bit more difficult, and I'll try to work with her. So, okay. The other item is talking or asking if people or a representative of the building committee would like to take tours of the site at all, or set up a group tour at some point. I think sometime in June would be a good time to do it. You can see where we're at, and we can also, again, reiterate what's going to be happening over the summer months, so that you understand, you know, what areas of the high school we're going to be taking away from them, and then what will return in the fall. So, do you want to try to set something up for the first week of June, similar to when we're going to have a building committee meeting? We could do it like an hour before the building committee?
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Okay. So I'll just set that up for, say, an hour before the building committee, and then I'll post it also, just so that we don't have any issues with the quorum, and we'll have one meeting at the high school for the tour, and then we'll do the second meeting wherever we end up having the formal meeting in, okay? Which leads us to the meeting day.
All right. All right, so we would be looking at early to mid-June. Selfishly, I am not available from June 1st to June 8th.
And I'm in California from June 8th to the 14th.
How do we feel about Wednesday evenings as opposed to a Tuesday? Is there any conflicts on Wednesdays?
Definitely.
15th?
Yeah, the 15th would.
The 15th. Wednesday the 15th.
All right. So Wednesday, June 15th.
So we'll do a 5 PM tour, 6 PM building committee.
Yes.
You can get us to that site in an hour. I'm back here
I
at
have my
6.
best wrangler at the back.
Okay. Do we have any additional business to come before the committee? Hearing none. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, meeting adjourned. See you on June 15th. Thank you very much.
Our second on the list.